I'm good. How are you?
Congratulations. I didn't know anything about your book. It's funny because I knew I was talking to somebody this afternoon called Jen. And then I saw that and then I thought, oh, I'll just check who it is I'm speaking to. And I said, oh
Yeah.
my God, so congratulations, number
Thank
one.
you so much. I know I've been crying and all sorts, and it's
Oh,
it's such a like a poignant time, really, like because my story talks about bullying and alcohol and everything, and Alcohol Awareness Week this week and
yes, you need to
Bullying
shout about
Week.
it on my page. You've never said anything. I didn't even know about it. Tell me everything.
What about the book?
Yes, everything.
Right. So, God, yeah. So it's called Love Thy Body, Real Life Stories, Volume 1. So I'm part of a group that was set up by three ladies called Love Thy Body Project. And they put out a request in July for people to share their stories. So I'm like, yeah, I'm all over that. And yeah, I got picked as one of the 23 authors. So we've all got a chapter in the book, just like sharing our journey and our experiences with, from there's all sorts in there, like from motherhood, addictions, domestic violence, and it's all like inspirational journeys of recovery and breakthroughs and everything. So I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm.
Because what's your story then? Tell us about your story, because that would be ideal to use this to share what you're all about and what you do.
So yeah, I'm the owner of I'm a bit like spaced out today because I'm like, it's so
Well, we might as well get you when you're on a high. Come on, share.
I know, I'm just like, it's just so exciting. It's just like little old me. It's like, as the teachers always said to me that, I was stupid and I'd never amount to anything, and I stopped trying and all that stuff. And so I've had this like limiting belief that I'm no good at academic stuff, I'm no good at writing.
Which
Yeah,
we
and
all
now
have that, don't we? I know I've got it at the moment, trying to get our message across, and you go online and other people just seem to just get it right. And when you read it yourself, we're so critical, aren't we?
yeah. Yeah, so I've been on a hell of a journey, really, from setting up my business in 2016. Yeah, well, I help other people now with similar things to what I've been through. So I set up the Healing Shed in 2016 after I had come out of hospital for trying to commit suicide.
Oh, right, okay.
Yeah. Shall I start from the beginning? I'll just go straight
Yes,
in.
come on, hit me with it. I know people, it's what I plan to do with this, and I feel like I've just put you right on the spot. What I plan to do with it, Jen, and obviously it's Alcohol Awareness Week. I'm trying to get other people talking to raise my profile and what we're about, but to remove the shame and even little things that I've shared from my journey. I don't feel like I hit rock bottom, and I feel like I'm not worthy of my space here in a way. And I do, it's, I want to hear all of the stories, the good, the bad, the worst, but only what people are happy to share, and for ladies to realize that they're dancing on this line between what is fun and when is that line. That was what I was obsessed with. Where was the line between my fun and my friend's problem? And I couldn't figure that out.
I don't think you have to hit rock bottom with alcohol for it to be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it to be ruining your life. And I think what you're doing is a really, really important message, because when you talk about alcohol, you often, or alcoholism, there's a big difference between being alcohol dependent and having an alcohol problem, that being addictive, because they're two different things. But I think there is a really strong message there because when you say like alcoholism or I have problems with alcohol, we automatically kind of think of rock bottom and, you know, someone drinking out of a paper bag with a whiskey bottle, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it really isn't. And I think,
but don't you think that keeps ladies stuck? Because I know when I was flirting with the idea of cutting down, and you know, you first of all you might mention it to your friends, and then your friends, because everyone's drinking a similar amount, they don't see the pain that you're in. Really, you talk about, oh, I've got a hangover and I feel a bit rough, but not, you know, when you feel so down about yourself because you haven't stuck to the plan.
Yeah, I mean, my journey with alcohol, I started drinking at 14 because bullying at school. I was a very outgoing child. I got labelled as difficult, but now I see it as I was challenging adults, I was challenging authority, I was assertive, and I didn't want to conform. You know, and I got labelled as difficult. I got emotional, because I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I feel everything so very deeply, you know, the good and the bad. And then through school, I was always like, I was always wanted to be centre stage, and then these girls like were ridiculing me and were bullying me. I used to get called, because I had these little rosy cheeks, you can still see them a little bit, but and they used to sing Rosie and Jim, this theme song, and I was really little as well, so they took the piss out of me for being little. Rosie and Jim was this cartoon thing, and it's like when we were kids, and yeah, just were really horrible to me, and it knocked the confidence out of me. So I stopped dancing, I stopped doing gymnastics, I stopped being in the school plays and doing the drama things that I really wanted to do. And then then the teacher also wasn't very nice to me, because I didn't want to be in school. I want to sit down and listen to a maths lesson. It bored the shit out of me, and I was just like daydreaming or thinking of something else, and you know, he shouted at me and called me a demented slug in front of like the whole class, and it was just more shaming, you know, more ridicule, more shame, and then that sent me into this spiral of self-hatred and like, what's wrong with me? And yeah, I could get called ugly and stuff like that, and then I got used to get loads of attention from boys, and I was like, well, I don't really understand this, because you know, I'm ugly and I'm, you know, worthless and all this. And I get into upper school, I then went from this outgoing person to this extremely shy person, and if anybody kind of looked at me, especially a boy, you know, be like, oh, it's just like, oh, just painfully shy. And I discovered alcohol, and I remember my first sip of alcohol was at my mum's 40th party, so I was really young then, but I remember like it made me kind of go, whoa, what is this? And I loved that feeling that it took me out. But so what was I must have been well underage, but anyway, I didn't get drunk or anything. Me and my friend snuck it into my bedroom and had it. But then once I got to like 13, 14, I was dying to drink. I was like, well, I want to do this, you know.
Because it felt like it was your confidence juice. It was going to help you with boys and all of that.
My superpower, it became my superpower, because then I was invincible. I could be anybody I wanted to be.
I can relate to that.
But then all this anger and all this hurt then came out in other ways that I'd kind of suppressed. So I wasn't a very nice drunk. And yeah, I soon.
So was it like that right from the beginning then? It didn't agree with you, it made you quite volatile, or?
Yeah, extremely, yeah. You know, 80% of the time I was right, but that 20%, no. And I lost friends, I caused trouble, just didn't agree with me. And but that kind of continued through my teenage years, and I did stop when I had my first daughter, but yeah, it just carried on. I just had the relationship I've had with alcohol in the last 20 years. It kind of went round of binge drinking and using hard drugs as well, and eventually it got too much for me, and yeah, I just didn't know how to stop it, because it was so normalized as well. It was so much part of me growing up. It was I mean, when I was 18, I actually did my licensee certificate and I ran 2 pubs.
Right.
With my
Drawn to it.
So yeah, I was around it all the time, and it was normal, I suppose. The drinking
And so
culture
were you
was
getting up in the morning and drinking, or were you just, was it like classed
not
as
at this stage.
Right, okay.
Not at this stage. It was social binge drinking. Yeah, and I wasn't drinking on my own by this time or anything like that, and that came a lot later. Then, you know, as the years went on, I left pubs, left him, all that stuff. I then was a single mum with 2 little girls. I was working like 55 hours a week for an estate agent. So I was professional, like, by day. And I had a good job. I had a nice car, nice house. Outwardly, everything was all, you know, I had my shit together, but inside I didn't.
Right.
I was professional by day, and then when I got home, I was drinking 2 bottles of wine.
And did
And
you feel
then,
that was a problem, or at that stage was that like your reward for your shitty life? Is that, you know?
I just needed it.
Yeah.
So else to do. Yeah, I was lonely, I guess, and it was a comfort. It was a habit. It was a wind down. It was an escapism. It was everything. Wine was my best friend. Yeah. So that was, yeah, professional by day, but just drinking by night. And then,
how did that play out?
well, I'd be late for work. I'd be groggy. I'd be argumentative.
Stuck like Suzie.
Yeah. And then
Because you
it'd be
often
like,
got all the problems in your life. That's why people say, oh, well, I need to drink because I've got these problems. I need to have 2 bottles of wine because of my job. Where often it's
the other way around.
Everything a problem.
It's alcohol's caused me so much heartache and physical problems as well. I mean, as you may or may not know, what it does to your insides when you drink too much alcohol.
You can share. I like to share. I like to learn.
Well, let's just say it strips away like your intestines and stuff. So there have been many a time where yeah, they wouldn't make it to the loo and stuff like that. You know, severe alcoholism is not pretty.
So can you take me back to when you were working at the estate agents and you were a single mom with the 2 girls? On the outside you were managing. What happened then? Because that's kind of when I got off the train, if you like. That's me getting off the train then, if you think. What happened for you?
Yeah, that I moved house to try and be closer to my work. And it all kind of, I was in near a town. Then, like, when the kids were away, like at weekends, it'd be parties at mine, and it got a bit more out of hand. I lost my job. And then I went into a different job where I was working as like in modeling promotional work, working like I did a couple of jobs down in London, like hostessing. Then, you know, the kind of the cocaine champagne lifestyle kind of came out a bit more, and I started using cocaine a lot more. And
did that overtake the alcohol then at any stage? I suppose did that just prolong your drinking, doesn't it? Because it just keeps you going longer.
Well, what happens is when you've got alcohol on its own and cocaine on its own, they're two separate things. And then when you put them together, they form what's called coethylene, which then stays in your system a lot longer. And what it does is it gives you that vessel, the cocaine gives you that ability to drink a lot more and to stay awake a lot longer. But the combination is really damaging and really quite dangerous. But then they went together for me. I wouldn't really do one without the other. And slowly my life fell apart. People around me started to notice that I wasn't managing. I was being reckless, and the children one summer holidays went to stay with their dad for basically all of it and didn't come back. And what
was going on for you at that stage then? What did you think was going wrong? Was it everyone else's fault, or did you start to see that it was, this was kind of a result of what was going on in the choices you were making?
Absolutely, it was my choice, but I didn't know how to stop it. I was actually, in fact, undiagnosed bipolar disorder as well. So I have that to add to it, which was then diagnosed in 2012. But I'm talking, this happened in 2008. I mean, I'm going back quite a while now, where it all went horribly wrong for the first time. And just slowly but surely everything started to crumble. When the kids went, it was like, well, that was so painful that it just made everything worse. I mean, it was just supposed to be a temporary thing. It was a mutual agreement. I wasn't coping, and because of my lifestyle and everything like that. But I didn't want them to. It was the hardest decision, and it wasn't a selfish one, it was a selfless one, because I did it because not that I wanted to party, not that I wanted to be without them, but because they needed to be safe.
Right.
And in it, I've come across so many judgmental people over that in the past, and it's like, well, how can you do that? How can you let your kids go to live with their dad? And I was like, because he's their parent too, and their safety is the most important thing.
You still had that peace of mind to think that was the right place for them to be at that time, right?
Yeah, absolutely made the right decision. It absolutely broke my heart. I couldn't even go in their bedrooms. It wasn't as if I lost my children or anything like that. It was just a decision that we made together that it was the best thing at that moment in time. And I'd still stand
what you need to do at the time with what you've got, don't you, with the information that you've got. And so looking back, was that a turning point for you, or what did that teach you, do you think, at that stage?
No, it made me worse. It was horrendous.
Because the emotional pain, of the pain, you had an excuse.
Guilt, the pain, that I kept asking for help, and I wasn't being heard. I tried to go to meetings, to AA meetings, and I just couldn't grasp it. The doctors weren't listening to me. They just kept giving me antidepressants. I didn't get any help. I'd been through a lot of trauma with domestic violent relationships and stuff like that, which I just didn't get any help. I felt completely unheard, completely let down, and it just made it all worse, really. It was a cycle of shit, and it really was. And then I didn't know what else to do. You know, I had periods of sobriety and periods of getting myself together, but as you know, as soon as kind of something happened, I would then turn back to this destructive behavior. And I eventually I crashed my car, I lost my house, everything. I had to put all my stuff in storage and go and live with my mother at 29 or 28, I think I was actually. But yeah. And yeah, she eventually got fed up with my behavior and my drinking and kicked me out. So at 29, I was homeless.
Wow.
Because of alcohol, basically. Mm. Mm.
And how does that work? What do you do when you're homeless? Where do you go? What did you do?
Sofa surfed. I did literally. I was like, I had nowhere to go. I stayed on various people's sofas. Whoever could kind of have me.
Just buying time, really, until people got fed up, and then you have to go somewhere else. Oh, poor Jen. And the kids are still with the dad at this stage.
Yeah.
And you just feel judged and guilty. And the only thing that makes you feel better.
Yeah. The only thing that makes that go away temporarily, as we know, it's only a temporary fix and a very short fix, is to numb that pain.
And how did you turn it around? Well, I know we all have to buy the book. If we promise to buy the book, will you tell anyway?
Yeah, I mean, I was then oh God, I was then it's just mental. My story is just mental, and it's like I don't even know how. There is a happy ending. Obviously,
how thick is the book? If there's 23 of these stories.
No, I've actually gone into a little bit more detail here than there is in the book.
It's ideal though, because you can use this. If you know, we can edit it, you can use it, we can share it, whatever you're comfortable with. I'll give it straight to you for you to choose. But it's ideal for people to listen to, isn't it? Podcast or video.
Yeah, my podcast is being relaunched at the minute. It's it's under construction, but yeah. So I mean, then I found out I was pregnant with my third daughter. So I was homeless, pregnant, and had this terrifying addiction. So I was just like,
and it's like, can things get any worse?
I have to fix up. I have to do something about this. It's no longer, you know, my body. It's I have a human in me, and I can't carry on. Yeah, I did get put into temporary accommodation, and I eventually, when she was my daughter was about 3 months old, we got housed, and I'm here and I've been here for 8 years now.
Wow. And that was the start of you building your life back together?
It was the start of trying to build my life back up, yeah. And it was it's been a long journey. So that was like 2012, when my daughter was born. We got the house, and I started to rebuild my life. But you know, and I got diagnosed with bipolar disorder as well. I finally got some actual help from the mental health service, and that kind of made sense. It was like, well, okay, so I'm not just a messed up human being. I actually have a chemical imbalance in my brain that I don't particularly like labels so much, but this, I felt heard for the first time in my life, and I felt like I mattered. So yeah, it's been a long old journey.
So it's actually come a massive full circle for you today, for you to be having that book. And tell us about the book. Amazon #1.
I know. Oh, I'm getting quite emotional.
I know, and so you should. You've been on a hell of a journey. Not all your girls okay? You're in touch with all your girls, right?
Yep.
Oh, well done.
Hmm.
So do you see the service really that we're both trying to do? You're trying to inspire other people, and me as well. It doesn't matter where you're at. It's a case of, if you have these nudges from the universe, act on them, right?
Absolutely. And you know, I had like 20 years of suffering because, you know, I didn't know how to help myself. But the truth is, I was the only person standing in my way, you know, and in that victim mentality, that blame mentality, that it's, you know, my circumstances' fault. It's, you know, everyone else's fault. It's not. It, you know, yes, a lack of understanding, yeah, a lack of knowing where to get help or what to do, yes.
Mm-hmm.
And they did play a part in that, but ultimately it was down to me to make it.
But if you had seen somebody like yourself online at that stage sharing their story, you wouldn't have felt so alone, because you would have said, that's exactly how I feel.
Exactly, yeah. I don't think social media wasn't really a big thing then.
No.
When I was going through like the height of my addiction, I call it. So it wasn't really there. I think when I used to just sit at home after being at work, you know, with my 2 bottles of wine, it was my space. Do you ever remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I would sit on there and like drink.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Or
But I think
just,
it's only just recently that I've even started to think of social media as a tool for support for various different things. You know, it's just slowly changing into what we need it for, really, and especially now with lockdown.
I think it's you know, I said this the other day, it's like, if you go on there and you search for the negative, you're going to find the negative, and if you engage in that, that's what it's going to be. But there are so many inspirational, positive people and so many platforms that can help with a wide variety of, you know, problems and issues. And if it's not for people like you and I that are speaking up and being brave, you know, then where do people turn to? Yeah, you've got the support groups, and you've got meetings, and like, you know, I was part of AA and CA for a number of years, and it's, you know, I went through the 12-step program, and it did serve its purpose. But for me personally, I feel my recovery was a lot deeper than that, and
Right.
I needed to find my own way.
Yeah. And I think that's it. When you talked about, you know, when you were dancing and before the bullying, and you said, I stopped doing all that. It's almost like you stopped being Jen.
Yeah, I
And
did.
alcohol filled that gap, but you were angry. It's like you knew underneath, you knew that you weren't being true to who you are. And
Yeah.
so you had all that turmoil, didn't you? And then it's like, now you're showing who you are. You're back to that Jen again. I mean, do you feel that yourself? Are you feeling like you're coming out the other side?
Yeah, I mean, in 2015, I had quite a few bad bipolar episodes, and I had a difficult relationship with my son's dad. So I have 4 children now, and like he was like, I don't want to be your effing carer, and didn't really understand mental health. And I was still battling with a lot of things. I was getting help, but I think it was having 2 children very close together, you know, set me off, and I even lost touch with reality, through like hallucinations and paranoia and stuff, down to bipolar manic episodes, which is really scary. and you know, and I just got judged and told I was awful and a shit parent and all this stuff, and I did in fact then try and take my life in 2015. So that, I think that was my pinnacle moment, was being in sectioned and being hospitalized. I actually had a massive spiritual awakening in the and something switched in me. Something said, you know, a light come back on, and that's when I said, I'm not prepared to live like this any longer. And that was the real turning point for me.
Okay. And so what did you do differently from that day onwards then? What did that change? What did you...
I realized it was me that was standing in my own way.
Right.
And yeah,
that, like the power, you had the power all along.
We do, yeah. We do. We do have that power. And I think that's what I instill into my girls and my son. You know, you are responsible for yourself and your actions and your reactions. You know, you are responsible for the words that are coming out of your mouth and the things that you are doing, and what path you choose to take with that is your responsibility also. And you can't be a victim in life. I spent years being a victim. Oh, look at me, poor me. You know, I've been through this stuff. I have bipolar. Oh, poor me. You know, I'm going to drink my way through everything and be an asshole. And then I felt, you know, I had to go at everybody else around me. I'm just being honest here. And you know,
coming out now.
I had to make amends.
I laugh about that in a way, because I think to myself, well, some people do have trauma and it leads them to alcohol, and I get that, I understand that, but some people don't have trauma and they still end up with alcohol. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like, well, everyone, a lot of people have got a problem with alcohol, but they don't all come for the same reason. Do you know? It's
but it's masking. Whatever you choose, it's not just alcohol. It's gambling, it's sex, it's overworking. What it is escapism. It's not wanting to feel a certain way. And when you start to feel uncomfortable, you then start to bring in these destructive behaviors. Some aren't destructive addictions. You know, some people, when they start to feel like that, they'll go for a run, or they'll go to the gym, or they'll do something creative, they'll paint or something like that. But for me, I picked destructive behaviors to help me get out of that, where I would sing and dance previously, but then I felt I couldn't do that anymore, because I would be laughed at. So it's horrible, but I picked destructive behaviors. But for me now, I'm not 100% teetotal. I still drink every now and again, but when I do, I don't particularly feel great. But I have to go through a checklist. I have to make sure I'm doing it for the right reasons.
And is that just something that you've just decided that suits you better, your lifestyle, or can you take it or leave it, or do you still like the idea of socially having something there, or what?
I'm not really bothered about alcohol. I just think it's just a bit of a non-event, really. It doesn't make me feel good. It doesn't make me into a better person. I prefer being sober, and it's a choice. I don't have to be sober.
That's it. You don't feel like you have to not drink. I've tried to explain that to people, to say I can have a drink if I want one, I just don't want one. I don't want one. I don't see it as I see it as a bit of a waste of time now. I don't see it as in the same way. But everyone's different, aren't they? And I think it's you making peace with yourself and feeling, was the bullying the issue that tipped you over the edge? Was the alcohol the issue? Was it a combination of all of them things?
Yeah, maybe. It was me that's the problem. My thinking. I had to change my thinking. I had to change my whole belief systems. And that took a lot of introspection. That took a lot of uncomfortable truths. That took a lot of work, which is what I've been doing for the last 5 years.
Fire. Making the fire in the background. Are you spoiling my video, man? I can cut that bit out. Yeah, it is. Well, I've got a big pile of logs in the background. You've got a pretty bunch of flowers and I've got a pile of logs. I'll put my head there. Oh, well done for sharing your story. It is hard, isn't it? It's hard to know how much to give. I struggle with that because you think sometimes it's just crickets, isn't it? You know, you come out here and you pour your heart out and you've given everything that you've got and it's just crickets and you think, oh. And then other times you'll hear someone will say, oh, you said something, and you'll go, I didn't even prepare that. You know, I hadn't even thought about that. It just came out and it was that stuck. And I mean, what do you think is the way to get to chat to people? Who is your ideal client? How are you hooking them in?
Okay, well, I do quite a lot. I mean, I help people with addictions. I help them change their thinking. But then I'm a meditation teacher, holistic therapist, and life coach as well. So I do help with everything, not just one specific kind of niche, really. Just I don't know, I just keep sharing whatever comes to me. I mean, I do lives, like one-off lives all the time, and I just speak from my heart, and I'm like, I don't care what I say anymore. I don't care if I offend people. I don't care. All I want to do is reach that one person who is struggling today that needs to hear what I've got to say. You know, I'm not here for the judgment. I'm not here for that. I'm here for the people that need to hear it.
And have you always been able to turn up like that? Because I think it is hard at the beginning, isn't it? At the beginning.
No, to turn up like this, no. No. I thought I had to be a certain way. I thought I needed to prepare loads and loads and loads of content. You know, I'll just show up as me. And that's taken a lot of work. To love myself and be myself.
And do you think that's part of your, I don't know if you use the word recovery, do you think that's been part of it? Because I know that this has really helped me, and I think I've got a thing that I share that I say help others because it helps you. I think there's something about that, isn't there, that actually helps us stay, I don't want to say on track, because I don't think that I would have, I don't feel any reason why I would want to drink again. So it's not about staying on track. I think it's just staying true to who you are or something, that you're having to show up for the people. I like it. I like that accountability.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty raw and honest, and as you've probably gathered, I just say it like it is. And you know, I don't sit here and pretend that I never have bad days, or I never want to scream and shout at people, and I never drink, because I do. It's on my terms, and I'm not controlled by it. And that's the thing for me. I'm not controlled or a prisoner of my addiction or my thoughts. And that's quite a freeing place to be.
So any top tips for anybody starting out then? What would you say to somebody who's watching this now? They're a bit worried about their drinking and it's going to be coming up to wine o'clock or whatever you want to call it. What would your top tips be?
I would say, rather than mindlessly just opening wine and going, oh, it's 1 o'clock, you know, I need this, actually write down the reasons why you are drinking that wine. Because when we bring about the self-awareness, we can start to unearth the reasons behind our drinking. Is it really necessary to have 2 glasses of wine every day? You know, and I would certainly look up the health effects of drinking, and set yourself small goals to start with. If you feel like this, you know, you really want to kind of cut down or even, you know, take the path of sobriety, I would say introspection that's my word of the day, introspection, because when we start to dig deep to the reasons behind reaching for the alcohol, we start to then think, oh, is this actually necessary for me to be drinking this? Ask yourself why.
And ask yourself, did it work? Because I think sometimes people go, well, I needed to relax, right? I've had a hard day. So you have a drink and it makes me laugh because they'll go like this. That feels better. But it doesn't feel better that quickly because it hasn't worked yet.
No, that's a psychological thing.
Exactly.
That's not the wine that you're doing.
I could have done that with
psychologically, wine makes you depressed.
Exactly.
Alcohol, wine.
So then to think, well, okay, if I've drank it to make me feel relaxed, but I don't feel relaxed later, I feel irritated unless I have another glass of wine. So it's going to make me feel relaxed, but it's also going to make me want another glass of wine.
It's actually a stimulant. And it's a stimulant to start with, and then it's a depressive, which is then why your brain goes, oh, need more of that, keep me back up there, and it's a vicious cycle. And then the more you drink, the more you want, and then, you know, 1 glass then is not enough, then it goes to 2, then 3, then you've got to have a bottle.
But it's a bit like the kids, isn't it? Like if the kids want something and you're in the shop and you'll say at the end, like when we're finished, you can have it. So to say, right, if you still want it in 20 minutes, to push yourself forward, it's like delayed gratification, isn't it? You've got something. I've just did a chocolate meditation, actually. I don't know if you've seen it, with another lady, and it's about, right, you've got the chocolate, smell the chocolate, think about the chocolate, instead of just eating the whole chocolate and it's gone. It's delaying that gratification to just push yourself a little bit further, and trying to trick yourself by giving yourself something else to drink, something else to do.
So I did that the other week. I started to get cravings because I know I was feeling good and I was cooking like a Sunday dinner. So my normal behaviour would be crack open a bottle of wine, and I'd drink that. I'd have my music on, I'd have my wine, and I'd be cooking, and I'd be having, by the time dinner's ready, I'd be half cut. But so I got a bottle of non-alcoholic wine. Oh. And I did everything the same apart from the alcohol.
Did it work?
It was really interesting because I did the same ritual of events, music on, glass of wine, but it just didn't have alcohol in it. Mm-hmm. And then I got down to sit down for dinner and I was like, oh, I've killed that craving and I'm about to eat the food and I'm not half pissed, irritating everybody at the table. And it was a much more enjoyable experience, and I didn't have that horrible groggy feeling, and then obviously I didn't have the toxic effect of alcohol.
Mm-hmm. So it's just trying different things, isn't it? And if we just encourage people to try something different, that's enough, isn't it? Really, that's what we're here for. We're doing our job. Alcohol Awareness Week.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing your story, Jen.
You're welcome.
And are you happy for me to share it anywhere? Do I need to edit? I'll edit the bit where my husband walked in with the sticks.
Yeah, maybe edit my crying. I don't know. Edit a bit for me, because it's.
All right, I'll just tell you I've edited it. I'll send it to you first, and then you can be sure. Oh no, we'll be fine. It's honest. It's real. It's raw.
Yeah, it is. It is. Yeah.
All right, and hopefully people might watch it. You never know.
I can share it on my platforms as well.
Yeah, okay, well, we'll do that. Lovely. And we'll do it again because it'll be nice. We'll feel more natural. We'll just have a catch up, Claire and Jen, catch up, and you can